All right. Well, I'm excited today to be talking to someone who I've gotten to know and respect, who's a successful seven-figure seller. Excited to have David Kopacz on to talk a little bit about his journey into e-commerce and the things he's doing to grow his business and some of the challenges he's faced along the way and how he has confronted them head on and overcome them. So David, thanks for coming on Maximizing E-commerce.
Hey, Kevin. Yeah, thanks for bringing me on. Looking forward to catching up.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So you were just so people kind of have a little bit of context on how we got to know each other. So you were a client with my Done For You service, and we helped you get launched into Canada, UK, and Australia. And just in getting to know you, one of the things I have to commend you on is you have a very even keel on a lot of things, like things that sometimes people want to like throw their computer up against the wall because maybe they're not getting the right answer from seller support or something like that. You just kind of rolled with the punches and things, and things have worked out pretty well for you because of that. So just want to commend you for that.
I appreciate that. And I think in the world of Amazon, I think you gotta live that way and have that attitude, because every day you could have anything happen, suspensions, delistings, or, just negative reviews, things like that, that you just have to live with and push through. So yeah, it's just one of those things you got to live with. And yeah, just a few years of experience.
Right, exactly. You just kind of got to roll with the punches. So we'll talk a little bit more about your international expansion and these challenges that we're hinting at, which thankfully they're starting to now get resolved to a better satisfaction. I think you had some good tactics that we were talking about before we hit the record button that I think will help folks. But just to kind of let's rewind. Before David got into the e-commerce world, how did you even decide to sell on Amazon / have an e-commerce store?
Yeah, good question. So my journey began a long time ago. I'm 30 years old right now. The first time I sold online, I was 13 years old. I actually started
Really?
on eBay. Yeah,
Okay.
just unconventional way to get in. But yeah, I started selling garbage on eBay, and
Wait,
I
trash?
joke about, yeah, trash, picking trash, but
Okay.
it's not the trash you would think. I was a high school tennis player, and we'd play at the local club. And I knew there was a market for used tennis balls, because I kind of grew up low middle class, and tennis balls are expensive, $3, $4, $5 per can. So every time we'd finish on the court, I would, there's these garbage cans on the edge of every court, and they'd be filled with used tennis balls, used 45 minutes to an hour. So
Uh-huh.
I'd pick these balls, 30 balls at a time. And, I found that there was a market on eBay for used tennis balls. People would use them for their dog toys, things like that.
Right.
But, I was 13 years old. Every day I was going to this tennis club. And, I just started listing, sets of balls. So it'd be, 40 balls for, $20. At that point, this is 17 years ago.
Uh-huh.
USPS had these flat rate boxes. It was, like $6. You could ship anywhere in the US. They would provide you with the free box. So I
Right.
was just going to the club. I would bring those boxes, fill them up, just tape them there, and then, kind of list them. And, it started, 30 balls per day, turned into gathering, hundreds every day. So, it's not big money for now, it's to make a $10 profit off each box. But as a 13-year-old kid, when I was selling 3, 4 boxes per day, it added up $300 of profit per week, because there's no cost of goods sold. It's me,
Right.
being at the tennis club and just picking these balls, filling the boxes. Yeah, just paying for shipping, and then eBay's 20%, but there was always something left over. So that's how I got started. After that, quickly just got comfortable with eBay, and I started selling shoes. I found, this is before Alibaba. I found DHgate was a website that was used to find factories in China. But I found these
Mm-hmm.
cool looking shoes. And yeah, I just started selling them online. They were quite expensive. uh, for buyers, and got into the this shoe business, and yeah, that kind of turned into kind of selling anything I could on eBay. I was kind of like a local pawn shop. Friends would get new iPods, new iPhones, things like that. I would, the great thing about eBay, you always have, you have the data of what the item recently sold for,
Right.
so if you wanted to, what did a iPod, version 6 sell for today, you could find that out. So then I would know, I could give somebody, $60 if I know I'm going to sell it for 100. But yeah, that led me through all through high school. I was kind of selling on eBay, and early on into college, and I kind of took a break, just partying through college, and
Sure, sure.
got into finance, and took a career path there. Realized, quickly, 5 years into the career, it wasn't something I wanted to do. And, I heard about drop shipping. I was just reading a lot about it, getting ads on Facebook, things like that. So just with my experience back in the day, I knew I could figure something out. And, while I was still working at my previous job in wealth management, I started a drop shipping store. And after, it was a lot of work. Obviously, you got to learn everything, become an expert in digital marketing and product design, graphic design. It worked out well. Started to make some profits, and I saw I could take this further, and that's when I developed my brand. It's a white label brand. It's a premium brand, and I took over from there and started selling directly on Shopify to customers all over the US. And then about a year after that, I got into Amazon, and that's when things really took off. So yeah, that's where we're at today. Probably 3.5 years into that brand, and we're, like you said, we're doing over 7 figures per year. So yeah, things are good.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot there. I want to unpack that a little bit. So I'm super excited that, I remember going around as a kid. Now, granted, I'm a little older than you, so we didn't have internet back in my days. So we were I remember walking around with trays of little Dixie cups with Kool-Aid and selling it to people door to door when I was 7,
Oh,
or, creating the proverbial lemonade stand. But you created the
oh
online
yeah,
lemonade stand. But
yeah.
the interesting thing is
And it
not
was early
everybody
too.
thought to do that. How did you think to do
Yeah.
that?
Honestly, I just I don't know what got into me. I just maybe I bought something on eBay, and that's,
Okay.
I was always a curious kid. Kind of spent a lot of time alone. So doing research, this is before, anyone had smartphones, things like that,
Right.
17 years ago. It's hard to remember, but yeah, doing a lot of research just kind of online, and just started listing these boxes of tennis balls, and that's how it all started. But once you
Huh.
get into it, you figure out the systems, you figure
Yeah.
out how to review the data, and you could, eBay was great at it for a while.
Yeah.
Just they
So,
provide you with all the details there on what you could expect to get for your type of product.
So I give you a lot of credit for that one too, because when I was in my mid 20s, around the exact same time, so around 16, 17 years ago, I'm not even sure the exact date, I bought 2 Nike Forwoods golf clubs for $40 a piece, thinking I was going to start this eBay flipping business, because oh, people are selling it super low. Now, what I didn't do was figure out okay, what is the data on eBay? I went to Nike.com, saw the manufacturer suggested retail price was $400. So I was like, I'm going to 10x my money, and then I'm going to be rich here before we know it. And then as soon as I hit submit on, sending in my credit card, and these golf clubs were on their way, I realized that all the other Nike Forward golf clubs were selling for $40 at the time. So I was like, who's going to buy it? So I literally still have those Nike Forward golf
Oh,
clubs
do you?
in my garage. One of them's in the golf club or golf bag that I never really use, and the other one is kind of like a reminder of not taking action. So that's amazing that at 13 you were able to figure this stuff out, because the tools were there for all of us, including me. But here was a 13-year-old kid who was able to figure this out and find this kind of random niche that you were able to source the product essentially for free, just your time.
Yeah, it was just, I was, like I said, at that tennis club daily, and just, when you're, it's on the side of the court, there's every tennis club has, just these cans, and they're filled. You know, anytime you go to a court, you'll see if it's, midday, 20, 15 balls, and you got 8 courts there. At one point I was even going in the dumpster in the back. If I couldn't make there, and I would just,
Right.
pick them up. But yeah, it's a funny story to say, started selling garbage, but you know I guess it's someone else's garbage is
Someone else's
treasure
treasure.
for
Yeah.
some dogs, or whoever was
Right.
using it. The balls are less than an hour old, but yeah, I
Right.
guess it's garbage to some people. So
Yeah, that's so interesting. Okay. So then fast forwarding, you've been kind of still playing around with the eBay thing and throughout high school, and then you get to college and you decide you want to go more the traditional path of, get the finance degree, work in financial services, it sounds like, and then
yep.
you realize that just wasn't for you, so you came back to not the same tactics, but the same, sell a physical product online, basically.
Yeah, throughout that time, I was flipping, jewelry, not much, but I was always kind of selling throughout the process, a few items per month. But I never, stepped into, direct to consumer, through Shopify or Amazon. I was selling books on Amazon, so I was comfortable. I was always just comfortable online. But yeah, I still remember, the first course I took, not course, I just watched a YouTube video on how to set up a Shopify site.
Uh-huh.
There's this Shopify app called Oberlo that I was using to, automatically sync products from AliExpress. Um, uh, so the quantities of inventory would come up, the price, I could just mark things up. It was a great way to bootstrap my way uh, to a start. And so honestly, I started this business with $29. It was just the first month of the Shopify subscription,
Okay.
and from there, drop shipping, the profits eventually over a year, picked up enough for my first order to have local inventory. I think that first order was about $8,000 or something like that. But that was all just direct profits from, the first year of sales. And yeah, from there, never looked back. And yeah, just kind of moving into new marketplaces. And that's what it's all about, kind of expanding, looking for new areas. And, just looking at the data, most importantly, as we expanded into new marketplaces this last year, it was kind of really researching and seeing how our markets would do, looking at the competitors before actually jumping ship and entering those. So it's it was a good ride, and yeah, using your service was probably the best investment I made in 2020. Because I was just so busy with growth. I knew going into UK, Canada was going to be big just because of the amount of traffic we were getting organically to our Shopify website, just through Google searches in those countries. So I knew there was a market for it, our products, but I just didn't have the time to get registered, to look into it. Obviously, when you want to launch into a new marketplace, you want to, do it the right way. And, I could have, got through it, but, I would have never been able to do it at the scale without your services there. just, taking care of everything, answering all the questions. So it was, like I said, the best investment I made in 2020.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you. That was very kind of you to say. So I'm glad it's worked out well for you. So, to kind of unpack that a little bit. So you were looking to expand your sales. And so, it's one of those things that when you're on a place like Amazon, if you're selling, we'll just use tennis balls since you used that example before. If
Yep.
you're selling, let's say, new tennis balls, you get to a ceiling of the number of people that are looking for tennis balls. Maybe you can find another keyword that, gets you, ranked for that keyword, and maybe you can eke out a couple sales a week on that keyword or something like that. Find a few more long tail ones that each, give you a couple sales a month or something like that. But like, you're just playing in the margins. Whereas if you can find more people to go to sell your tennis balls, then now you're casting a wider net and able to sell more tennis balls, because maybe there's fewer people selling tennis balls to people in other places like Canada and
Exactly.
UK and places like that. So I'm glad to know it's been a good experience for you. So let's talk a little bit about some of uh, the challenges along the way that we were kind of alluding to. And you you had a product that was getting flagged by Amazon, or it had previously been flagged in the US for something strange, something completely unrelated. I hope you don't mind me saying, but it was like for like nuclear something or other.
Yep.
And there's like,
Yep.
you were not selling anything nuclear. I don't even
Nope.
want to talk too much about that because I don't want any algorithms listening to this to flag this video because of it. But same concept, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, so just to touch on that, we did, our randomly, our products, a good portion, probably 80% of our products were just randomly manually yanked as, containing nuclear materials, which was very strange. It came out of nowhere. And it took a while to get through this issue on Amazon in the US. It took about, I would say maybe half of the listings, it took a month. Some took around 4 months, because we didn't know what was flagging it. It was kind of hard to just, obviously you just want to write to Amazon, hey, our products don't contain this. Why, what's going on? And then obviously dealing with seller support is always a nightmare. Most of the time you just get a response, sorry, you need this license. Thank you.
Right.
And so, we went through a lot of steps, and yeah, we got through it because obviously our products weren't, they weren't, anything near what they were saying, or, even in the same, ballpark there. But yeah, we got through it. And then that problem, when we did expand to new marketplaces, it did actually, come with us to the Canadian marketplace. So yeah, that was, something that was unexpected. We were just, it definitely took a while to get through that issue. On Canada, it was much harder to get through than on the US marketplace. I really wish I knew what caused this, misidentification of our
Mm-hmm.
product, because then I could kind of give more information. I've done a lot of research, try to figure it out. There were some, possible keywords that we were using in our text that might have flagged, the products, but I don't think that's the case, because, some of the products were, they all used pretty much the same type of
Right.
description template. So they would all have the same word. So yeah, I've heard a lot of issues. I read Amazon seller forums. Some people talked about, having competitors stuff, their backends with restricted terms. And, that's just a place you don't really look. And until Amazon, if Amazon's reviewing your request to reinstate a product, then they're seeing that restricted keyword, there's nothing they can do. They're just going to respond back. So
Mm-hmm.
it's possible something like that happened. But yeah, like I said, when we expanded into Canada, um, about 85% of our products were just automatically blocked. And, I think we started that process back in September. And just now, this is March 2021, and we just started to get some of these ASINs reinstated after trying so many different things, exhausting every resource we had. And luckily, we found a process that worked. So yeah.
Yeah, and that was an interesting one because generally marketplaces tend to be somewhat their own silos. So like for example, we didn't have any of these issues in Australia or the United Kingdom.
Yep.
All of your tennis balls got added on. None of them got thought of as being radioactive tennis balls. Whereas your quote unquote tennis balls in Canada, if I remember correctly, it was the ones that had been flagged in the US previously.
Yeah, it was the same products. So yeah, I think it has to do with like you said, they're the different silos.
Mm-hmm.
Now, kind of looking deeper into that, I think the silos, have larger categories. North America, which is the U.S., Canada,
Mm-hmm.
Mexico. Europe is its own, so those issues wouldn't, transfer over. Europe, UK, and all the European countries where Amazon's available, and then Asia, you have Australia, Japan, India. So I think they break out into those categories. That's what I've got, because like you said, yeah, we didn't have any issues in the UK, no issues in Australia, with something similar to this. And the crazy part about it is, what they were requiring, if you remember, they were requiring us when we launched in Canada to have a US license from the
Right,
nuclear
exactly. They wanted
agency.
US
Why would
agency to satisfy their thought it was Canadian, which is so weird.
Yeah, so it was a strange process, but yeah, knock on wood, things are starting to go the right direction 5 months later. So yeah, it was something we weren't expecting or anticipating, but it hopefully we get through this hurdle here, and yeah, start selling
Mhm.
in Canada, because I know it's going to be a big marketplace for our products. Um,
Yeah, and so just to kind of also give a little bit of context here is like, what's interesting for me in the situation was like even the pesticide thing, which I know a lot of people were hit with, with US pesticide laws and whatnot, or Health Canada has their own pesticide laws. I've seen products get hit in one marketplace or the other, but they tend to
okay.
still be in that. I've been hit in some of my products being, marked as potentially hazardous, although there's nothing hazardous about it. But they tend to be in one marketplace. So whatever reason, yours was connected. And, Amazon, it's one of those things that sometimes there's these connections in the back end of their catalog. I don't even think the person in seller support knows how to do it. So sometimes you just have
Yeah.
to kind of take the bull by the horns. And before we hit record, basically what you described, and feel free to correct me, was it was almost like you refreshed all those listings there, and so you just made it so like all the fields were like just tennis balls. We'll just
Yep.
pretend they're tennis balls.
So yeah, we had many options at that point. Obviously, going to a new marketplace, you want to start selling as soon as possible. So 5 months without being able to sell, our top products, really kind of hurt. We could have just created new listings, new ASINs for those products, but in this case, just having the amount of reviews that we have on our products, it was worth it to kind of push through, because I knew it wasn't a real issue. Like you said, it's a tennis ball having radioactive
Right.
material. Our products did not have this issue. It was just, how can I explain this to seller support? And so yeah, we did kind of get through that process. Um, it took a while. We basically cleared out the feed, the whole ASIN, every single field. We just put in one word, just to kind of clear everything out. all the back end data. Because if you leave, if you have four bullets and bullet points, and you're only switching two of them, maybe something's in those other two. But so basically, we did a full wipeout, and that actually started to work. Being a blocked listing, you have to have Amazon actually upload that feed file to make all those bulk updates. But yeah, it seems like, because from my review of the back end, there were no restricted keywords. There was nothing I could see. But it must have been even deeper than that somehow. I don't even know how it all works on Amazon's back end, but somehow something must have been in there. And when we did this full update, it cleared it out. And we've even gone ahead and pasted all the same information back that we had on the back end in, and it's not flagging that issue. So yeah, sometimes you just got to get creative. You got to try things. I know, it's the amount of time it took me to deal with these blocked listings, these issues that just were misidentifications. I want to say at least 100 hours in the last 5 months. So much time invested, and so hopefully we're past that, and we just start moving forward and selling the products.
Yeah, and one of the things also, just to give people a little bit of context, is with a lot of things, whether it's Amazon or anything in business, like we can very easily get caught up in well, they're not listening, they're not doing whatever. But it's like, I think it was Jim Rohn said one time, don't wish you were easier, wish you were better. And so you got better at the figuring out that. So if that situation ever happens to you anywhere else, now you've got something there. And yeah, you had to kind of bang your head up against the wall. And, we had spent some time banging our head against the wall too, trying to figure that one out. But, eventually it got figured out. And so, it's like a lot of things. Sometimes we get frustrated in the moment. I've just kind of learned to have faith that as long as you're pressing forward and making attempts and not being like mean to the person on the other end, things are going to eventually work themselves out. And, you're going to reap the rewards of all that. So just to kind of put in perspective, what are your sales in the UK? Because you've been up and running, didn't have any issues there. So in the UK, what were your sales compared to your US sales?
Yeah, so currently doing about about 190,000 in sales in the US per month.
Okay.
In the UK, we're looking at 60,000. So this is March 2021. We got launched in, I believe our first sale was in November 2020. So within 4 months, we're already, what does that come out to? 30%, just over 30% of our US sales. So yeah, it's been a great launch. So just kind of to back up our product, we have a premium brand. We have many, we have about 36 different products, or across that there's 110 different variants. So there's a lot of listings. It's to get that all onto, a new marketplace takes time. Getting the inventory in, operating at a small company, it takes time. So right now we have about maybe 25% of our US listings available and selling on Amazon UK. So, being at, like I said, they're 30% of our US sales. Things are good. But like I said, it came down to, I knew that the search traffic, even though, the amount of users on Amazon UK is much smaller than the market in the US. Just kind of looking at the data, I knew the search traffic was there, and it was quite high relative to the US. So it just seems that it's kind of a market shift. More people in the UK are looking for our products, use our products. And that's really what's helped us. And sometimes, you know, a lot of sellers can just kind of look at the numbers of the size of the marketplace. But, you know, when you take a look at a product, say, you know, in the US, you're selling teacups, and, you know, in the US, most people drink coffee. But then, you know, you go to the UK and you start selling your teacups, and you realize, oh, wow, everybody in the UK
Mm-hmm.
sells tea or drinks tea. You know, the market's different, even though the size of the market, it's just kind of locality. So it really worked out for us in the UK. And I know Canada's going to be just as strong, just by that search traffic. So, you know, looking forward to getting these products on Amazon Canada as soon as possible, because, you know, we're losing you know, a large figure of sales by having those you know, delisted products. So going to turn that around pretty quickly here as soon as all these listings are reinstated.
Yeah. And the nice thing is, you know, when you're in some of these other marketplaces, there's less competition. So even though, you know, maybe the population of the UK is about 15 to 20% of the US population,
Yeah.
you know, you're seeing higher than that percentage wise. Canada, as long as the listings are activated, people generally tend to see higher percentages. So although it's about 10% of the US population, people oftentimes see 10, 15, 20, sometimes even higher percents, you know, difference. So, you know, right now you're still getting some trickle of sales in Canada for the listings you do have, right?
Yeah, it's so, you know, the last 30 days we had 7,000 in sales in Canada. So, but like I said, these are low hanging fruit, you know, ASINs. It's hard to kind of launch because we're a brand. And, you know, a lot of times customers buy, you know, a few of our products together.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of want to research the brand. When you launch with just kind of one item, it's, you know, we haven't been able to gain that brand recognition in Canada. Obviously, you know, it's only been 4 months, but it's much easier to do when you have a full catalog of products. You know, a full suite of options you can do with
Yeah.
you know, advertising, you know, sponsored brands, to a good, you know, full collection versus, you know, just 1, 2 products here and there. So yeah, that's really what's worked in the UK. You know, what we've done, I spend a lot of time on my PPC campaigns. You know, I've really mastered that. And the nice part, you know, in the US, I, you know, set those up all manually. And then when we launched to the UK, basically we just transferred those
Mm-hmm.
same campaigns, because, you know, the language is the same.
Right.
English, we just transferred them over, and that's kind of what drove this growth. And we did the same thing in Canada, Australia. Obviously the traffic's lighter, but you know, just kind of having that, you know, you don't have to redo all that work. You know, the amount of time it takes to build, you know, a proper campaign set for each product. You know, just to give you an idea, I have, you know, we have 110 variants. We have about 350 advertising campaigns running right now, different campaigns. So, you know, that's just in the US. So, you know, obviously it's a lot of work just to transfer those, but, you know, if we had to redo those from scratch, you know, like we'd have to do if we, you know, go to Germany or something, because you got to redo it in a different language. It's going to take a lot more work. So yeah, it was a good start. You know, your team did an amazing job just getting the listings live, getting us registered. You know, I think most people don't understand. It is a process. It takes time. It requires, you know, it's registering your business. It's, you know, the government's going to want, you know, real documentation. It takes time. And also, you know, global pandemic was going on, you know,
Right.
people
That whole
working
thing
from
too.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely took more time. than usual to get registered. But yeah, your team did a great job transferring the listings. And yeah, we just got off to a great start. And yeah, like I said, the numbers are looking really good in the UK.
Well, good. And it sounds like, for a launch, you basically turned on PPC using the same campaigns you'd already dialed in the US and just kind of went from there, right?
That's literally all we did. It was just transfer over, send the product and then transfer the campaigns because obviously they were working well in the US. That's all it took.
Yeah. And, one of the things that I've tend to find people that try to do like these, whatever launch strategy they may have in the US, if they try, some aggressive launch strategy in another country, they tend to not get the return on investment. Whereas they literally could just turn on PPC because you're not having to worry about the reviews because as long as you use the same ASIN or UPC code,
Yep,
it all the reviews will transfer over. So you're not starting
exactly.
over from scratch there. So you already got the social proof. Yeah, people want local reviews, but I mean, if it says it's got 1,000 reviews and they're all Americans that were reviewing, I mean, that's better than a product that has 0 reviews for a
Yep.
lot of buyers. So you can generally just kind of get up and going relatively fast once you've jumped through the hoops. So what I always say to folks is that it's more about the jumping through the hoops versus the management. So um, how much time are you spending managing your UK sales versus your US sales?
Good question. So UK, probably not enough, but just sending inventory there. Obviously, the PPC is running. I look at I track sales on a daily basis just to see things are going well. I track margins by ASIN just to make sure there's not something, not some outlier, moving the needle there
Mm-hmm.
too much. But yeah, not much at all. We're basically running coupons, and that's really it.
Okay.
So it very low amount of time. Most of my time is spent, dealing with designing new products and
Mhm.
working with the factories on that. I still do all of our responses to customers. I still handle that. I kind of like that personal touch.
Mhm.
Being able to write back to a customer and say, "Hey, I'm the founder. Um, we'll take care of this issue." Um, so yeah, it's worked out. I think eventually be able to outsource that, but yeah, not taking much time. It was just kind of getting the products there, transferring the PPC, and letting it ride.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, oftentimes we want to do all these things that are off Amazon, like thinking like we're going to get more sales there, but like, you're getting 30%, more than 30% of your US sales just in the UK.
Yep.
Almost 4% of your sales in Canada. And granted, it's because you really have a parent family. You don't have all your most popular products, which are just now unrestricted. So once you have inventory of those, you could send those in, and those will get you up and running, really quickly. So you could be looking at close to half between the 3 countries of your US sales at Amazon International, and you use the same PPC campaigns. You didn't have to figure out a new terms of service. You don't have to figure out new shipping other than sending it to the warehouse.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely the best way to go when you're kind of scaling horizontally. New marketplaces, especially Amazon. We have in the past couple months here tried some new things just to see in the US. We've tried Walmart. We're selling on Walmart now, and even tried eBay because there's people drop shipping our products on eBay.
Right.
Our product from Amazon on eBay at
Mm-hmm.
a ridiculous markup. So we figured, just get the listings up there. eBay, I guess, has some restrictions too on the number
Mm.
of products you could list, the amount of sales you could have on a monthly basis, but uh, it's nowhere near, what we've done with the UK, to get over 1,000 orders, or, say $60,000 in sales per
In the
month.
last 30
In
days, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's we're, like I said, Amazon, um, US is doing really good, and we thought, just adding Walmart, it's an easy way to get some sales, large market, but being a premium brand, I'm not sure if it's the best marketplace for us. Both Walmart and eBay, we get a few sales that trickle in here and there. Um, we're using Deliver now
Hmm.
to send our inventory, so that's showing up as 2-day delivery. But it's still just, I want to say in the last 30 days we've had 25 sales or something like that. Versus
Oh, wow.
uh, Amazon US, we had about 4,000 sales. So it's a very small. Um,
So, as I'm understanding it, your sales in Australia are beating your Walmart sales in the US?
Pretty much, yeah, very
Yeah.
close. And yeah, so it was much easier to set that up versus
Right.
getting to know a whole new platform. It's a Walmart's, hopefully, they say they're going to be investing a lot. It was quite easy to set up. I just kind of transferred everything over. I had our virtual assistant do it for me, but they also have an advertising platform. Um, I it's a little different. I didn't really look into it, but I believe they said you can't have any negatives, keywords. So it operates a little differently. And I'm not sure if you could, control your bids as much. Um, so yeah, it's, it was worth setting up because it took no time, but we're not going to focus much time going forward.
Right.
But the extra 25 sales per month it's
Right,
fine.
exactly. It's like you might as well take the money. So it's like, just
Yeah.
another way to expand. Like, I'm very pro international selling, but I'm not anti other marketplace selling. Like, yeah, I'm on Walmart. I've done almost nothing there, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things like it's worth trying. I'm probably more optimistic long term about Walmart than I am eBay. Etsy is probably my
Yeah.
number one off Amazon.
Okay.
Um, platform just because my products seem to work there, but it just depends. And sometimes you just got to test things out, test out these other marketplaces,
Exactly.
test out Amazon's international marketplaces. But would you recommend folks, you know, what would you recommend to someone who's saying, okay, I'm on Amazon in the US, what should I do next?
Definitely, obviously you got to look at the data.
Hmm.
There's so many tools out there, but um, Canada, UK, 100% you should be selling in those areas, as long as your products can sell there. And take a look at that also, if there's any gates uh, that you have to open. Different countries have restrictions too, if you're at health or anything like that. But yeah, definitely UK and Canada, Australia. I'm not sure about Australia. It's pretty slow. It seems like it's starting to pick up. But yeah, I would say for sure UK and Canada would be the first place to go. Um, and and yeah, from there, you could start to look at different marketplaces. Um, the nice part, when we started in 2020, our inventory in the UK could be sold across the other European marketplaces, but now with Brexit, they don't allow that. So basically our inventory in the UK can only be sold
Right.
in the UK to customers in the UK. But just that 2 months that we were selling, it gave us some information, and some data where customers are in Europe also. So I'm in the process right now of expanding also to Spain and Germany.
Hmm.
But those are going to be a different, it will take much more work because I don't want to use just Amazon's translation services. I don't want to use,
Right.
Google Translate. I want, if I'm going to launch, I think it says a lot for a brand. And I think it will also help us, stand apart from the competition if I hire a local translator to translate each listing. We focus on the right keywords. And so we'll definitely make that investment into those two marketplaces from what I've seen. But yeah, just even saying that, it's you know that 2 months gave us some information, and it seems like Amazon France was even though there's a large market there, our products all got flagged quite quickly for some reason. So we're not going to be going in that direction. But yeah, it just gave us some guidance and information to know where to move next. And like I said, so Germany and Spain will be next for us. But yeah, for any new seller, UK, Canada, I think that's your best bet before you even try, the local marketplaces like Walmart, eBay, Etsy. It comes down to the product also. But um, in my case, we've been able to grow 40% just by adding these marketplaces, and that's in 4 months. We've been able to increase our monthly sales by 40%, I should say. So.
And the nice thing is you've still got room to grow because your most popular products haven't even had a chance to launch into Canada. So.
Yep. Yeah, and it also takes time because, like I said, we spend a lot of time on our branding. We are a premium brand, our product. So just kind of giving some information. Our margins are quite high in the US, and just kind of seeing in the UK, the margins are not much lower, but say around 25% versus in the US we're around 35. It's a hefty margin there, but it's going to take time to build that brand recognition. In the US, our number one campaigns are branded campaigns when somebody's actually searching our brand name. And so, people are coming back, people are recommending our products, people are talking about them, and that just takes time, and eventually that will help the margins. And you should kind of expect that when you're going into a new marketplace. If you have a brand, if you're selling just a commodity and just trying to get sales, it operates different. But in my case, I'm willing to make that bigger investment, because I know over time it's customers will start talking. We'll see brand searches increase, and that will definitely help our margins.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, and UK is kind of a weird one that makes it kind of apples and oranges, and you may have already kind of figured this out in your equation, but your advertised selling price in the UK includes the value-added tax. Now Amazon's starting to file for us, although we can still take credits on the back end. So it's kind of a weird world in Europe. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to, if you're getting pounds that you can put into dollars, and that's additional, bucket of money that you wouldn't have had if you didn't offer the products, and you could still put dollars in to invest in inventory and get more dollars out in the back end, and it's not taking away from your sales or, affecting your margins in the US. All it's doing is just bringing you more bottom line. And
yeah,
oftentimes you're not investing in, more staff, more tools, you're using a lot of times your existing infrastructure.
exactly. Yeah, the listings are already created, optimized in the English language, on Amazon US, and it's just an easy process once you get through, the small barriers of entry into these marketplaces by getting registered. But yeah, it's definitely the way to go. To be able to transfer a bulk file with all the information, and get listings up and ready that quickly, and at that scale. We're talking 110 different products with one upload, versus the amount of time it took me to originally create those products. Each one, design the product, optimize the listing, the graphics, everything, the reviews. So just to be able to hit a button or upload and have your products live in the same way on a new marketplace, it's the best way to go. UK, Canada.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for you, and it's always good to hear your success stories there too. So, anyone listening to this who's saying, I want to build my business and want to kind of get into the mindset of someone like this, do you have any closing thoughts? Some more of like less tactical and more kind of mindset of what folks can do as they're growing their business or brand, and you can take that any direction you'd like.
Yeah, in my case, I've always been focused on building a brand, a premium brand, and kind of having, a company ethos. Our customers kind of throughout the journey, from our listing page to, receiving the product, the inserts inside, what you see, what you read, you know, I I feel customers get a value. They're paying higher, but they know we're really focused on creating the best product. Uh, you know, uh, we kind of explain very well what we do. The features of our product, how we, what separates us from the competitors they're seeing at a lower price. So, you know, I, in my case, I've always been focused on building a brand, and I think that will kind of bring you success in the future as people kind of talk about your product, refer your product. So that's kind of my advice to anybody kind of starting out or somebody new. Instead of kind of just looking at search terms, what's selling hot right now. If you're not building a brand around that product, eventually it's going to phase out. It's just kind of, you get the sales and quickly it vanishes as competitors join the marketplace. But when you build the brand, as we've done, people will pay whatever they look for your brand, and it's just kind of one of those things that's really been the key to our success. It's so that's really my statement there. As a general rule of thumb, there's different strategies you could play on Amazon. You could always find those opportunities, but I think for the long run, kind of to set yourself apart and build long-term success is the best way to go. Is kind of design a better product and kind of let people know what it's about. Build the brand, and it'll take you far places, I think.
Good deal. Good deal. I enjoyed chatting through your story, learning more about how you basically went from taking tennis balls out of dumpsters to now building an international empire. So super
Yeah,
excited about this.
it was great catching up with you, Kevin, always. And like I said, yeah, thank you so much for offering the service you do, because I don't think we would be in these new marketplaces if it wasn't for you having that service available. And like I said, I really appreciate it. It was the best investment I made in 2020. It's looking forward to it, and I wish you offered it in even different languages, because we work with you going into Germany, Spain, if we could. I'm not sure if that's something you're working on, or if that's something you're doing.
Actually, I'm helping somebody 3 brands get into Germany right now, so I'd be more
Are
than
you?
happy
Okay.
to we can chat after we stop recording.
Okay,
This was not
sounds
planned, just
good.
in case anyone's wondering. So but yeah. So yeah, great advice there. It was great catching up with you as well. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast, David.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Thanks.